Dear guests, our conference will continue with a special industry session. I would like to invite the moderator of our industry session, Ahmet Albayrak.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, and visionaries of digital frontiers. Actually, I would like to thank Professor Saim Yorgun, Dean of Istanbul University, Faculty of Economics, for the invitation. This is my second time I have been here in this lovely hall. Really honored to be here and actually talking to you. I have very distinguished guests. I would like to introduce, those speakers to you. I would like to start from Dr. Mutaz Ebu Jeib. He's on my right-hand side. He's from Syria, but he has a academic career in Malaysia, especially from the banking and accounting side and Islamic space. And he worked for European Investment Bank as a project manager. And of course, he completed his degrees in University of Malaysian universities, and he got his master from INSAFE, and he worked for ISRA, part of Central Bank of Malaysia called Bank Negara, and he worked as an FinTech accelerator and have been in the national project of Malaysia for years. And finally, he just joined to very interesting, government, let's say, body, Malaysia Digital Economic Cooperation. He worked for that institution and also Islamic economic arm of it. And right now, he's with us in Istanbul, in Turkey. He's representing IFES. IFES is one of the very prominent Islamic advisory company based in England. Today, Dr. Mutaz will be sharing his experiences with us. And on my right side again, Şerafettin Özsoy. By the way, we have, starting from Şerafettin, we have 4 engineers here. 2 of them management engineering, and Betül and myself, I'm industrial engineer also. We are industrial engineers with Betül. So actually you can just have a photo of, there are students here who's involved with digitalization and digital, institutions. Actually, Şerafettin right now working as an investment network co-founder and accelerator. He has a company called Infor Startup. He is very active in that space, and he has been supporting so many startups, working with the different municipalities in Turkey, and he establishes different acceleration centers for municipalities, for different corporates, and even he worked for Technical University of Istanbul, right, at the acceleration centers, as far as I remember. And on my left side, Hasan Sami Bayansar. He's management engineer, but as long as I know him, he has been active in digitalization, and he became a project manager and especially in banking. And then he, worked for Turkish Airlines. I know that, some of the modules you are using right now in your mobile phones is the product of Hasan Sami and his teams. And right now he's managing a company, is a participation of Al Baraka Group, and actually Insha, the name of the company is Insha, and he's the CEO of that company. And Betül Hanım, Betül is the one of the fintech or startups product owner. And she has been, working in banking space more than 12 years, and right now working for Fimple, not simple, but Fimple, financially simple. Yeah, it means like this, and they're how to say, thereafter for bringing or making the financial information technology systems as simple as possible, and making them as a platform. And she will sharing with us that they are making banks or financial institutions easily co-work with the FinTechs and startups. So they are making that kind of, or developing that kind of IT systems. So she will make a presentation. Actually, how we organize the panel, we will start with Betül, and she will tell us banks or financial institutions with their service as a banking as a service platforms, how they integrate those fintechs and startups with whole ecosystems. And we will start with Betül, and then Hasan Sami will share with us how as a CEO of a bank, how they are evaluating those fintechs and adding up to their ecosystems, how they are accelerating their activities and making them profitable and sustainable. And then Şerafettin going to tell us, until that startup or fintechs reaches to Hasan Sami, how they are accelerating and helping, supporting those fintechs. Finally, Dr. Mutas hopefully will be sharing with us in general perspective, and he will put all the ingredients in one piece, and how we can achieve national or international digitalization, and how it's going to affect our economies. Okay. Actually, let me start with my comments on the subject. It's both an honor and privilege to welcome you all as the chairman of this insightful panel on digitalization and its effect on economy. In the brief time we share this afternoon, I would like to spotlight three facets of digitalization. Firstly, accessibility. Digitalization has democratized access to markets. Today, a startup in Bangalore in India can compete with the giants in Silicon Valley, and a craftsman in a remote village can sell his art to the world. It's not just inspirational, it's revolutionary, really. Secondly, efficiency. First, accessibility. Secondly, efficiency. Automation and AI are redefining the productivity. Tasks that once took days are now done in moments. This unprecedented efficiency is not only increasing outputs, but also challenging us to reimagine the nature of work and employment itself. Actually, it's one of the, I think, functions of the economic faculty of economics is just, defining the nature of work. Nature of work is really changing and, revolutionized, we can say. Lastly, connectivity is very important, and digital economy has made the term global village a lively reality. Cross-border payments, real-time communications, and international collaborations are no longer the exceptions. They are the norm now. As we dive into our discussions today, let us keep in mind that while digitalization offers immense opportunities, it also presents us with challenges that require collaborative, innovative, and inclusive solutions. That's why we have, approximately the whole parties here, and their representatives will present you their perspectives. Let's start with Betül Hanım. Betül Hanım, please. Sure.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Mr. Ahmet. And I will discuss fundamental requirements of redefining financial experience with banking as a service, and I will try to explain what is banking as a service. Banking as a service is a service model where developers from different sectors connect directly to the service banks through their APIs in order to implement banking products into their own offerings. With this banking as a service concept, fintech players can act as a banks. And banking as a service mainly has four major players. One is the bank. This can be a traditional bank or new age digitalized one. And the other one is BaaS platform. Banking as a service can be named like BaaS. And also we have businesses. It can be a fintech or non-fintech companies that wants to embed their that wants to embed financial services into their own offerings. And also we have an end customer, BaaS end customer, in banking as a service as players. When we look at the banking as a service as framework, I will go through this part quickly. We have some layers, front-end, middleware, and back-office system. As Fimple, we are a cloud-native core banking platform. As you can see, we are sitting in back-office sites. And banking as a service needs an API layer. It should be in the middleware. This API layer helps businesses to connect directly with the bank system and help them to have financial services. Banking as a service enables a lot of advantages for banks and non-banks. When it comes to innovation and speed, of course, fintech companies are in the lead. But for banks, but on the other hand, banks has their customer trust and has an enormous funding capacity. Both sides can find novel revenue generating strategies together while operating banking as a service. Of course, customers comes out as a winner in both cases. When we look at the scenario through the eyes of fintech companies, we can also clearly see the advantages of banking as a service. Because acquiring a banking license entails enormous funding capacity and some requirements for it. If fintech company or non-fintech company coordinate with a bank directly, they can get around to have financial banking license, and this is the main advantage for fintech companies. The future of finance is open as evidenced rapidly growing banking as a service system. The financial sector, the banking as a service helps financial sector to grow and grow every day. As per Finastra's report, as you can see here, we have a lot of enterprises that want to use banking as a service, and this report also states that banking as a service will be $7 trillion in value by 2030. And also this report states that nowadays the banking as a service, majority of banking as a service products are for retail customers, but this would be changed. BaaS growth will be balanced between retail products and corporate and SME products over the next 3 years. And when we look at the evolution of banking as a service, we can easily see that white labeling was the first step of it, but today a broad variety of distributors, fintech companies or non-fintech businesses tries to embed financial services into their own offerings and product. But tomorrow, banks should embrace BaaS in a tailored propositions in order to have some new customers, get some new customers, and grow bigger and bigger. According to a survey conducted with 1,060 individuals, in addition to interviews with 50 senior executives, we can see that BaaS awareness is so high, and today it's using the usage rate of BaaS is 57%, and we can also say that the 43% can be a potential customer for BaaS. When we try to understand what are the requirements for banking as a service, we can mention several key factors here. One is the main requirements for banking as a service application, banking as a service implementation is regulatory compliance. Both banks and fintech companies need to be sure everyone is on the same page relative to risk management before sign on the dotted line, and they need to watch for banking as a service regulation changes every time. They need to be updated, and they need to continually review roadmaps and risk management. And also they need to, if they have any chance to work collaboratively with regulatory partners, they need to do it. And one of the biggest challenges of banking as a service is time-consuming manual activities. To have good compliance workflows and to overcome regulatory compliance is these kind of manual activities. Most of the banks coordinate with the third-party solutions to create an regulatory compliance, straighten their regulatory compliance. This is one of the main requirements for implementing banking as a service. And the other requirement is consumer ecosystem. Collaborating with partners through platform-based ecosystem comes out as an efficient way for banks to deepen customer relationship, leverage customer trust, and drive revenue growth. One of the other requirements for banking as a service is consumer ecosystem. And also the last one is integration capability. Banks can improve their integration capability with several key strategies like create and robust APIs, open banking compliance, and scalable cloud infrastructure, data security, and so on. If you take a closer look at the integration process of banking as a service, we can clearly say that there are several key strategies for a smooth integration banking as a service. One is the well-documented APIs, and the other one is sandbox environments, and the last one is security measures. Since APIs are the essential keys for implementing BaaS, APIs themselves should be think like they are product. What does it mean? It means that it's not only important what functionality they deliver, but also how they deliver it. The API portal comes out in this time, and it plays a vital role for developers, since developers are the consumers, customers in banking as a service. Developers' experience is so important here. That's why well-documented APIs is one of the main strategies for a smooth integration banking as a service model. And the other strategy is creating a sandbox environment. It helps companies to manage their regulatory risk during the testing period itself. It allows fintech companies to create cutting-edge technologies and test their goods and services in it. And also, sandbox environment shortened marketplace entrance and give an advantage for fintech companies. The last one is security measures. I can clearly say that security measures is so important for smooth integration banking as a service process. When you want to coordinate with a bank or fintech company, it's so important to create a high-level security and risk management. That's why it's so important to have a good security measures and play strict access controls, data segmentation, regulatory security, regular security audits, and compliance regulations. It's so important to have security measures in your mind while you are implementing banking as a service. Let's go into real-world examples. I don't know if you heard about Sterling Bank or not, but it's founded in 2014. It's a British digital bank, which means it doesn't have any branch. It operates as a digital bank, and it gives their financial services to the customer via their web portal or web applications. And while offering its financial products to the customers, Sterling Bank also operates as banking as a service provider. It has more than 2,000 headcount and approximately 4 million total account, and total revenue by 2023, it is 453 million euro. And Sterling doesn't provide a pricing information yet, but it is reasonable to assume that it charges a licensing fee for accessing to its API. And its BaaS solution is currently being used by more than 300 organizations, including Square, SumUp, and Credec. And when we come to Apple, you know, Apple is a well-known company all around the world, and we can say that Apple takes big bite of the forbidden fruit of finance, because what if I say that Apple Pay is using a lot of BaaS communication with banks? Today, Apple works with all 4 major card players, Visa, MasterCard, Discovery, and American Express, and has signed BaaS partnership deals with more than 5,000 banks globally, and has onboarded thousands of retailers across 74 countries. And in 2040, when Apple launched Apple Pay, the size of the global mobile payment market was just $5 billion. And be careful that fast forward to 2021, and the market had grown to $1,907 billion with projections from Fortune Business Insights. This is a good example how BaaS can help revenue growth for fintech companies or banks. Thanks for listening to me. I mentioned something that would be important for you, that would be useful for you. If you have any question, I can have it.
Actually, we can have maybe one or two questions just to clarify any points that you did not really understand, maybe. But after this session, we can have the questions and answer session. But now, just to clarify the presentation, if you have one or two questions, I can take it. Betül Hanım, thank you very much. Yes. Yeah. Yes, hocam. Yeah. Please.
Thank you very much for your presentation. My name is Usama Hamza. I'm a PhD student in Islamic Economy and Finance in Istanbul University. Actually, you spoke about the security. How can blockchain system or FinTech system can be more security, give more security for the banking system or the finance system in general?
Yeah, you can have some solutions, third-party solutions in the manner of security measures, and you can have some user experience, try to grow your stuff based on these security measures, based on these security risks. And you need to be updated every time based on these security measures. And also you can have some kind of third-party tools based on security. We are, as FinPool, using third-party tools to create more secure environment for our banks. You can use this kind of third-party solutions too.
In general, Üsame hocam, as far as I understand, it provides a governance framework. That governance framework works for different instruments. One of them is definitely security. One of them is API systems that just connects to financial institution to FinTechs, and also through FinTechs to customers. So this is some kind of course, using some third-party solutions, increasing the security level of customers, coders, whatever. But it provides a governance system that everybody should come and work in that framework according to its framework rules, basically. So thank you very much, Betül Hanım. Hasan Sami Bey, please, the floor is yours.
Can I sit, by the way?
Of course.
Thanks so much. And firstly, I would like to thank Professor Salim Yorgun and inviting us with this audience, precious audience. And I'm so excited to be here because Dr. Ahmet Albayrak is my master. So this is the first time that I'm sharing a platform today next to him, and forgive me, please, because this is my excitement to be next to him. Coming from Ms. Betül's presentation, I would like to quickly, briefly summarize what Insha does as a partner of, as a player of in the digital economy. And right now we are about to start a company which is going to be blockchain, utilizing blockchain technology to serve SMEs and in their daily transactions. So please take me as a player from the field and what we learn, what we witness in the field. Insha, as a venture builder, we are trying to facilitate and foster the startups, the FinTechs, to accelerate and to make them more profitable and efficiently. So for an enhanced digital economy ecosystem, what we believe is FinTechs are and going to be leading players right after incumbent banks. What, according to a research in 2019, Harvard Business Review research, the corporate startups has a chance, 1 in 8 chance to create a $100 million company value, where just a startup, not a corporate startup, has 1 in 500 chance to create a 100 million valuation. So as Insha, we are utilizing our parent company's network and ecosystem. It's more beneficial and more productive for us to create value for FinTechs and digital economy. And before I come here, I a little bit thought about what kind of daily transaction and monthly or yearly transaction and SME, small medium enterprises that we witness in the field, how they can utilize with blockchain and digital economy. What if we compare their 50 years ago daily transaction to today's transactions? Let's assume that you managing a wooden company, and we can maybe think there some daily operations from producing value, producing some goods and services, and selling them, and support their customers utilizing blockchain. Yes, mainly they utilize blockchain with financially, but from transparency to security, there are lots of places that we can utilize those kind of technologies to be more efficient and productive. Again, the first step, order placement. He or she needs to order some hard materials to be able to produce some goods to sell. Blockchain and digital economy can provides him to research their materials within the fields, and there might be some platforms where he can gather the beneficial materials, and there are some technologies to help them to create some efficiency and productivity, and payment services where he can buy the initials products and raw materials from where he buys the materials, and invoices, and maybe as many of I assume that you are students, but once you graduate, you will be witness that invoices, sales, marketing, lots of daily transaction companies faces. So there are lots of that you will learn in the fields right after you graduate. So then what I say right now is the invoices, I mean, and payment initiation, those kind of terms will be more meaningful for the blockchain technology to serve better in a better way. Operational expenditures, on the other hand, is one of the blockchain technology, and SMEs can help. Digital economy can help SMEs to plan their daily transactions, daily operations. I assume that many of the people right now thinks that once we talk about blockchain, they come with tokenization and coins. But from what we learn in the field, blockchain is not only coins and tokens. Blockchain is kind of new era for making more transparent and efficient daily operations for anyone actually, but my example from an SME. These are kind of daily transactions for SMEs. What we try to do for startups and FinTechs, on the other hand, in our company, we would like to help them create more value, and we would like Albaraka's and our ecosystem partners knowledge to create knowledge to accelerate their business. We help them during their idea generation and investments, finding investment periods, product development cycle. Yes, we try to utilize digital economy, but mainly in digital economy, we serve them as financial services. Miss Betül told about APIs, and those APIs will be maybe, I believe that APIs will be more well-known term in daily life. So every digital application that housewives, doctors, SMEs utilizes will use application programming interface. So banks, producers, every player of the digital economy will utilize APIs. So we are about to create some APIs for them to change their daily transactions into create value for their customers. That is also what we do in the field as Insha Ventures. These are my initials, and I can have some questions right after, maybe.
Thank you so much, Hasan Sami Bey.
Right.
As far as I know, Albaraka Türk more than 200 branches, 226 branches.
Yes.
What Google says, and 2,700 personnel, and of course each branch creating a profit out of millions of customers, maybe. So your FinTechs that through Insha, they're coming and serving to Albaraka Türk's customer base, right? Yani what kind of, can you give us a two example, for instance, from your FinTechs? And you did not have it in Albaraka as a product, but after your integration, and those two FinTech just reach to Albaraka Türk customers through the branches, but they are additionally profitable, right?
Yes, exactly.
So instead of opening new branches, maybe you are adding, you're integrating new FinTechs into Albaraka Türk ecosystem. Can you give us an example of what are those two examples? For instance, you added value to Albaraka Türk, how to say, service system, let's say. Yes.
Thanks so much. We have in four category: payments, open banking, digital banking, and regulation technologies. In payment category, we have 5 different products. Mainly, they serve different kind of transactions and operations where the SMEs and the Albaraka customers can utilize it to gain time, for efficiency. One is POS solutions. For example, what we know exactly, once a POS comes to our mind, we know that a device kind of in every stores and locations, but we transform those devices to our mobile phones. Every mobile phone owner can utilize his or her phone to collect money as a POS. So this was one of the major innovation for Albaraka and Albaraka customers, and also Turkish customers because it's regulated from Turkish Central Bank. So any people can utilize their mobile phone as POS solution. He or she can collect money from the stores or even anywhere. So it needs to internet connection. It doesn't need papers. It doesn't need.
Before Albaraka Türk, our Albaraka Türk used to pay a lot of money to buy those POSs, right?
Yes. Exactly.
But with the very efficient tool, you just remove the requirement of physical POS, but converting your mobile phones to POS machines.
Yes.
So every salesperson as a POS is now.
Yes.
Right. Easily.
Yeah. Exactly. Another example of our products. Once we want to withdraw money from ATM machines, ATM machines are very expensive, starting from $10,000 each. But we started an API connection between mobile banking solutions to retail locations such as BİM, A101, Şok, and other
retail stores
and other kind of local stores, more smaller than those big retails. We started an application where people can utilize their mobile phone to withdraw money from retail stores. You go to a market, you go to a gas station, and from your mobile application, you directly connect to your bank account, but through our application, not utilizing your digital banking application. And you produce a barcode, QR code, and you show it to the cashier, and the cashier gives you your money. That is your money. And we transfer the money from our bank account to the retail store's bank account. This is a simple technology, simple API integrations, but it was an innovation, and the banks are not right now trying to buy new ATM machines because anymore the ATM machines are not necessary. People can collect money, withdraw money, and even deposit money from any locations.
So that through the APIs, that FinTech integrated with Albaraka Türk core banking system.
Yes.
And Betul does it, right? Yes. Your core banking integrate that FinTech with the Albaraka Türk core banking system.
Yes.
Through that, you remove the ATM.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
No need for ATM.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Before you removing a lot of things, let me turn to Şerafettin. Şerafettin is also, as you know, co-founder of Infor startup, investment network and accelerator company. Let's start with Şerafettin, how he is doing his job and why, you come to that idea that you should, found that kind of company. What was missing in that ecosystem that let you start that kind of business?
Thank you, Ahmet Bey. Firstly, I will talk about the fintech entrepreneurship and the banking as a service. Why I am interested in fintechs, fintech entrepreneurship, banking as a service. Firstly, I will introduce my background. I'm graduated from the Istanbul Technical University Management Engineering Department as a bachelor degree. Then I graduated from the Marmara University Banking Master Program. Then I'm continuing to do again Istanbul Technical University Management Engineering PhD program, and I'm studying on entrepreneurship, corporate entrepreneurship. Also, my business background, I worked in a bank, in a participation bank, in Kuwait Participation Bank. Then I work in a big corporation, Yıldız Holding, Ülker Group. Then I work in Technopark Istanbul Incubation Center, and I help many startups in there. 2 years ago, I found Infor Startup investment network for startups company. At this point, maybe I should mention what Infor Startup does. In Infor Startups, we help the startups in many ways. We organize many acceleration programs. That is, we help startups, we educate, we giving mentorships and giving training programs. Also, we manage some incubation centers in Turkey. In Başakşehir Municipality, we manage the Başakşehir Living Lab. Also, we are combining the startups with the investors. Firstly, we analyze the startups and giving some feedbacks. Then we take the expectations of the investors. Then we combine them. Also, we organized many startup competitions this year. Thirdly, we organized promising startups in Turkey, in Turkish, gelecek vadeden girişimler competition. Then all of them, I met many startups, and I listened their problems, their disadvantages, and their expectations. At this point, I know and I see the fintech entrepreneurship is the biggest difficult entrepreneurship type, because fintech entrepreneurs needs more investment, more infrastructure, more compliance with regulations, and maybe more reputation in financial ecosystem. And at the other point, banking as a service can be an opportunity for the fintech entrepreneurs, because I know the banks have many enormous investments, infrastructures, reputations, customers, and if an fintech entrepreneur come with a new idea, a new startup in fintech, they can use these enormous resources of banks. They use their IT infrastructure, especially maybe as a white label solution or an embedded solution. And they can easily reach their customers, and easily, as fintech entrepreneurs, startups can easily develop new financial products. In Turkey or in generally world, these fintech startups sometimes e-markets, e-commerce startups can easily use these fintech entrepreneurship facilities. Maybe I mention or other background and history. We think banks and fintechs can be collaborate because one side have enormous resources and other talented people, and fintech entrepreneurs has very motivated to develop new products. And in the last years, in Turkey, we witnessed many good examples in these collaborations. And in Turkey, many banks have found entrepreneurship startup centers. For example, one of them is Kuveyt Türk Lonca Entrepreneurship Center. Other is Albaraka Garage. In these centers, banks looking for new fintech ideas from entrepreneurs, and they had the entrepreneurs with more both financial and other resources. Maybe I can mention some good fintechs maybe in participation banking. For example, I know faizsisteklif.com. They combine with the Islamic banking services in a digital platform. Also, blockchain has a other biggest opportunity for fintech entrepreneurship, but in Turkey or generally in the world, financial product development should comply with the regulations, and blockchain is a very newest trend, and maybe next feature or a near feature, blockchain can easily utilized from the startups and the banks.
Şerafettin Bey, thank you very much. Actually, it was a lovely presentation. There are, I mean, students, maybe potential entrepreneurs in the hall. So I think one of the very apparent output of digital economy is entrepreneurship, or when entrepreneurs. And you have, you know, mashallah, very good experiences in that field. For the potential entrepreneurs in this hall, what would you like to say? I mean, couple of hints, maybe a couple of points. How should, I mean, they understand that they can be entrepreneurs, and what, you know, entrepreneurships you know, take actually, and what they have to do in order to be very good entrepreneur, or, you know, taking an idea and making that idea to, you know, productive product for the society. So it's a, you know, very difficult and challenging process, I know it. So what did you see in that process, and what your suggestion would be? Maybe is one of the questions I can ask.
Thank you. I understand. Independent of fintech entrepreneurship, generally entrepreneurship is a motivation focused issue, and entrepreneur has a big motivation to overcome the obstacles. Firstly, the entrepreneurship has a big motivation, and generally we work in a year more than 100 startups, and we see some realities. Generally, entrepreneurs have only idea, but we need a tested idea. For example, an entrepreneur should test the POC work in a big company, and he or she tested their idea, their product with the customers in a reality, in a real world. Also, maybe I think product market fit is the other important issue, because you can create a product, but you should or you must sell this product. if they not available any customer, you cannot sell these products. So you should test the market product fit also. The another last point is a good team, because you cannot success any idea or startup lonely, because you should collaboration. You should be a collaboration, and you have 2 or 3 co-founder group for your startups.
Thank you so much. Actually, we have, 25 minutes to remain. So before that ended, we would like to hear from Dr. Mutaz. Doctor, please, floor is yours. I think you have a presentation. Please, yeah.
Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Very good afternoon to everyone. Let me start. Before I start, I would like to express my thank you to the university, and I would like also to congratulate you. For having such a lovely session. For me, it's always I believe that having academicians and industry players under one roof is the best that you can do. And this is where you can get the good ideas, and you can direct the academia to the right direction. Because I would also warn all the students that business life is very fast, and you will not have the time to think and develop your ideas while it's the time now where I under the university. And I can give you so many examples of very successful tech startups and fintech where the ideas basically flourished during the university time, or even during some engagements with universities. So congratulations for having this session, and thank you again for inviting me, and thank you Ahmed Bey, and for all the panelists for the lovely contributions and presentations. Let me start. I will try to be brief, so within the time. So let me start with something. Okay, by just asking the basic question, why Islamic finance, or why fintech, or we can put it, why digitalization, or why even innovation, why we are discussing here. Because for me, having this kind of question is very crucial, because understanding our objective will direct what we need to do, and we will be able to understand better the ecosystem and how all this works together. So trying to connect the dots between what the great panelist has shared. So let me ask you, what do you think of this picture? Any idea? What is this? Please. Great. It's basically, it's a curved stone to allow birds, when the water comes, when the rain comes and the water will remain, so the birds and animals can drink from it. So this is pretty much a Ottoman era innovation. So for me, it is an innovation. It's an innovation. It may not be sophisticated technology, but someone innovated, recognized first a problem. So we are trying to solve a problem here, right? We are problem solvers. So in all this digitalization, we need to think about what is the problem that we are solving. So sometimes in the industry, we see ourselves like, just going with the trends. Like everyone is doing, there is a lovely technology for payments. Everyone is doing payment solutions. Let's do another payment solution. And then I will provide you with some statistics where you will see like many payment solutions exist, but so other very important verticals with high potential still we can work on. And so So for me, this is innovation. So definitely in digitalization and fintech, we are trying to leverage on technology, but we should not be scared of this technology. And I'm talking about this because here we are in Faculty of Economics, and I often found people, we don't understand much of the technology, but multidisciplinary is the thing today. And you can even look to the panelists, even I was like fascinated to learn also that Dr. Ahmed Bey is also industrial engineer background, and he's leading a financial institution, right? So you can see that, it's sometimes not about like being by starting your career or being under Faculty of Economics, you cannot do technology, you can do fintech, etc. So talking from that perspective, talking about the problems, for me, we can look into two perspectives, macro perspective and micro perspective. So starting from our general macro perspective, you can see I found the conflicting statistics, but it's at least 20% of the Muslims at the minimum, or probably for some statistics, 44% of the Muslims are underserved by the traditional banks and even modern fintech until today. So we are talking about like still there is a huge opportunity of, not only banking, but providing financial services to the larger Muslim populations. And that applies to Turkey and everywhere. So you can see within even at country level, you will see a lot of people still unbanked. And very good examples have been given here regarding the POS. It might look for you living here in Istanbul, something simple. I can go to any place, withdraw money. But for someone who is living in a remote area, in a village, for a farmer, it's a very important innovation. It's a crucial step that has been made and enabled by those banks. So we are also need to look into the opportunity, recognizing that today we have statistically 50% of the population of the Muslim populations around the world under age of 30, which means that, and those mostly digital savvy by nature, my 5 years old daughter, by nature, she can do a lot of things in the mobile to the extent that I wonder like why I'm not natural like her. So we all know that, the youth are digital savvy by nature. So there is a huge opportunity here that we can leverage on. So when since I'm coming from Islamic finance or Islamic fintech background, so I often face this question: why Islamic fintech, or why? What is the difference? And the question for me, it's sometimes we are too much focused here, what we call it participation banking or Catalan, right? So sometimes we lose the general perspective and we become very focused and thinking about very particular about murabaha, about different kind of structure of product. But in general, it's much more than this. It's about, I would say, Muslim friendly applications or applications, fintech startups that serves Muslims. That's it. So it's about the objectives. And I would like to go into a details, discussion on this aspect, because this is not the objective of this panel. But I would say just at a very high level. So when we are talking about Islamic finance, we are talking about, or when we talk about like Sharia compliant applications, we are talking about like the core principles that's preventing what is harmful and promoting what is good, right? So those two, they are like gears with a bigger gear that it is basically the broad objectives of Sharia. That's basically protecting the wealth of the people and have a more of balanced development. And this is what we are talking about today, even in a very conventional term, when we are talking about SDGs, when we are talking about developments in real economy development and impact. And all what we are talking about here is impact. This is why it comes back to the questions of having an objectives, having a problem, and then going from there. And then you will find it not really much difficult to have your application or your fintech startup to be Sharia compliant. It's just a matter of very much small technicalities if you understand that perspective, if you go from that perspective. And, this is where it comes again to the product development. And this have been also mentioned by Brother Sharafuddin of the product development. And that applies to the fintech and, of course, Islamic fintech. For me, product development should always start with a problem statement. It should always look into what is we are trying to solve. It could be at a very high micro level or could be a micro level. When we are talking about a country, so you are living here, what is the problem you are solving? I believe probably my dear panelist here mentioned something about invoicing. So he said issuing invoices is a challenging, and blockchain could solve this problem. So he started with a problem. So at a larger scale, as a country, as a university, as an academician, I would encourage to look also to a macro perspective on our development goals. So we need to have a financial inclusion. We need to solve the problem that we are facing today in a country, the inflation or whatever, monetary issues, challenges that we are facing in the country. And then through the next process will be, for me, the next process for it is more of a negative screening, and where you just check if there is a riba involved, there is a gharar, there is, these kind of non-compliance issues. So you remove them, you replace them. So if there is a prohibited item, so because interest is not allowed in Islam, basically, but you can have other forms of profit. So you just tweak basically the model, and then you look into the consequences. And for me, that applies even, I would say, this is a more of ethical kind of process development process. It's not really an Islamic. It's even from academic point of view, because I always have one foot here, one foot there in academia. There is even an academic debate regarding the terminology. Should we use Islamic fintech? Because naturally it's a fintech. If you are Muslim, it should be Muslim friendly. If you are whatever. So anyway, coming back to the process here, it's about having the impact. So you started from a problem, and then throughout the process, you need to check again whether you are making the impact that you are aiming for at an individual or at a product level, and then at larger level of at the economy level. So if you are facilitating financing, so who you are serving is like, at the end of the day, your application become just serving the rich people to become richer, and ignoring again the same, doing the same mistake, that we did in the past, ignoring the lower income or not. So trying to just to adjust accordingly to serve the purpose. And then finally, you will have what I would call it is Sharia compliant product. It's not about if you skip the objective and you become just meticulous about like a few areas, forgetting the objective, you will not really have a truly Sharia compliant, which is, I would say more of ethical finance. So this is where I see a huge opportunity to look into these aspects, and especially if you are talking about like Turkey and putting also the international perspective, where as an entrepreneur or as someone who is working in Turkey, I would like to expand also as well to other countries. So these things need to be taken into consideration. So once you have this, you are venturing into a very I would say an area with high growth. And this is where I would like here to just share with you a few statistics on this, would say, Islamic fintech market and potential for this. And most of these statistics are taken from the Islamic fintech global report of last year, because this year it has not been issued yet. So in total, there is a $79 billion has been put into this market. And we are talking about less than 400 startup company in that space. And here I'm just excluding the banking. I'm not talking about like the banks who are invested in digital space. I'm talking about the FinTechs and the startup. And it is expected to have a very high growth. If you can see in a couple of years, it's expected to reach almost $180 billion. And if you look to the countries, interesting, you see, though, Turkey become, I mean, except of Iran and Saudi Arabia, because they are by law have a full-fledged Sharia compliant. We can debate on the details, but in general, except of these two, you can see Turkey has a very high, role in this regard. And here could be a higher potential, in fact, once you go into having something, compliant. Looking into the sectors, so according to this report in 2021, there are 375 Islamic fintech globally. Those who are identifying themselves as Islamic or Sharia compliant, or put some kind of measures, even at minimal level, to be basically compliant. But this is where I see like it is a very, I would say, very good space to venture into, because it's still very small market and the opportunities are huge. So this opportunity can be harnessed by those who already have some applications, so they just can check how they are serving basically the Muslim and go from there, or even for new players. However, looking into the sectors, you see that 199, so more than 50% are on the finance side, while very less or less 100 plus on the save and invest. And even if we zoom in here in this, actually, we have here, do we have a laser? Okay, yeah. Anyway, I mean, it's okay. So if you look to the chart here, you can see that, the two big blocks are crowdfunding and payments, right? So on the right side, where you have the challenger banks, et cetera, and all of this, like the save, invest, and all other sectors. So even if you zoom in and you look into it, you see still very little on the save and invest, which is very important and very crucial. And what is even more interesting in the give and protect, which is basically the social finance aspects, is even less, which again, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to be harnessed. And also that reminds us of keeping the objectives and the problem solving into perspective. And here, let me take this discussion into a global level, right? Into the countries, and for me, I'm always a promoter of cross countries collaborations, and if you look to the countries here, they have been categorized by this study into several groups, into this two axes, into taking into consideration two different factors, that the volume and the momentum. So you can see that, for example, Malaysia has a high momentum and high volume. There is a huge ecosystem kind of push. And I'm expecting Turkey to move to that direction, because during the last 2 years, I have, I'm closely observing the development. And I can see that much more efforts has been put into enhancing the ecosystem with enablers, with accelerators, and even the regulatory sides. So Turkey is, I'm expecting it to move to the right side, to being on a high volume and high momentum. What is even more interesting, you see, in terms of the size, is almost Malaysia and Turkey is like, very close on the size. And I believe there could be also a huge kind of potential of collaborations. And this is what basically, as a consultant, I worked with MDEC, that's a Malaysian Digital Economy Corporation, as mentioned by Ahmed Bey, that working on collaborating with Turkey ecosystem to see how both ecosystems can grow together, and how a fintech company or startup, even a tech company, can be from here to Malaysia, or from Malaysia to here. So if you look to the Turkey, even very much interesting research finding in this report is looking into the various factors of the Turkish market. And for me, if you look to this, what they call it web chart, it's just a representation of different factors in one chart. So you can see here several factors has been put in the scales. So you can see the market share is at the maximum, which means like, you know, it's advancing very much. You can see the talent is very much high, which is proven now in worldwide. Everyone is trying to approach and you know, hire talents from Turkey, including myself. So if there is interested in students, please get in touch. So there is a talent in the market. That's great. And probably on terms of regulation on the fintech side is becoming, you know, is becoming more advanced to the time, but still it's a pretty much unregulated market to a certain extent. But I would say is I always look to this as also opportunity. So you can venture into this before having a very rigid kind of regulations, right? So Dr. Ahmed Bey is knocking his head, like he understands well this in the finance space, that, you know, a regulation could be a challenge. So for me, there is a huge opportunity. What is needed is to have the perspective. For me, participation or Catalan finance here is a huge opportunity, because pretty much until today it's focused on the banking. Very few, you know, recent developments on the fintech and finance side in general. So there is a high potential, and Turkey for me is also is not about only local market, but it could be a very interesting hub to all MENA region and CIS region. And working with several, you know, stakeholders and players, I can say that, you know, this is the perspective, this is the expectation from everyone for Turkey to play, so that you can establish a business here and grow from here, you know, to the east and west. So with this, I would stop here. And if you have any question or any discussion, I would be more than happy to answer and contribute. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muaz. Thank you so much. Actually, if we look at the social pressure, even in our society, but all around the world, we can see that, you know, finance industry, you know, requires and needs a lot of social finance institutions, including Islamic ones, of course. But, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, just at the, let's say, Sharia compliant ones, but also at the social finance side and ethical side, there's a huge, you know, needs and, you know, requirements if you look at the, you know, social pressures from our societies. Okay, thank you so much. Actually, this is 3:30 now, but we just, you know, started a little late, 5-10 minutes. We can have a couple of questions, if any, that our speakers would love to answer. Yes, sir. Sure. Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah. No, for me, if you are, I mean, you may think that, you know, in Turkey you are not practicing Sharia, but I can go to any restaurant here and eat, you know, a meat. It doesn't need to be labeled as Islamic, but it is Sharia compliant meat, right? I mean, I can eat doner everywhere. Naturally.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes, you know, we lose the focus. We think about it very, very narrow. You know, being Sharia compliant does not exclude. So it is Muslim, for me, exclude. It's not like Muslim inclusive, but it's Muslim exclusive. You know, so we don't exclude anyone, right? So we don't exclude anyone. So being Sharia compliant will not exclude you from any market. You can still have a global market. But if you are naturally, as mentioned by Ahmed Bey, if you are naturally, you can eat everywhere, and you can just inform others in other countries where there is, you know, kind of sensitivity or different understanding on this, that, you know, this is a Sharia compliant, right? And for me, this is why the objective I put, like, it's more of serving the objective, having an impactful. So being Sharia compliant should be naturally serving the economy. And then it will be naturally, you know, Sharia compliant. So even when we talk about social finance, you don't need to label it as zakat or sadaqah to be Sharia compliant. If you are doing good to the country, you are doing good. So it just, you know, you need to look into sometimes, and as about like Sharia governance framework, there could be some kind of particularities. It is just similar to compliance with securities. So it's just us where we sometimes we put unjustified weightage to things, right? So thinking about if we are going to be Sharia compliant will change everything. When you are developing your solution, you need to be you need to be aware of cybersecurity, right? If your application is serving 1, 2, 3, 4, but have a breach, you cannot do it, right? So it's similar here. You just need to look into if you have some issue with Sharia compliance, you look to it. There is always alternative. You tweak to it. It's done. So it's not that complicated or changing the whole, you know, perspective. And this is why, I mean, this is probably the mistake that happened, especially on the banking side globally, that, you know, it's more of also, you know, sometimes those who are in the field, they are trying to do a lot of marketing, differentiate themselves much from the market. So trying to say that it's a total new industry, it's different, it's complicated, but it is not, in fact.
I think this is more advantageous side, especially if you are, you know, having that kind of, or applying that kind of standards, you know, internationally accredited or accepted, or using some international rules and standards like Islamic finance and Sharia compliant or whatever you name it, then, you know, the members of or how to say, followers of that idea will come and participate in your economy, in your country, right?
Exactly.
Some kind of international accepted or accredited, how to say, network we are talking about, create its own economy.
Exactly.
Yes.
This is where you see on the statistics, it's a very much encouraging.
You're welcome. Any other? Yeah, please.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for the question, especially for the investment side. Let's briefly summarize what Al Baraka does right now. And for investment side, as Insha and our parent company, Al Baraka Portfolio Management Company, we have right now more concentrated on startup investment funds. Sukuk and micro sukuk is not in our scope right now. But as Al Baraka treasury departments and international banking departments are more doing this kind of transactions, but those are not mainly on, unfortunately, fintechs and startups. We have a project for the next year, which investors, micro investors can utilize these solutions. Inshallah, next year we will have more solutions which are compliant from the Turkish stock market regulatory. So right now, as fintech startups or venture builder, we don't have any solutions, but we are working on next year. Of course, inshallah.
Yeah, actually, I can say that using blockchain technology, SCOOC or rental certificates is very, very well suited in that technology. And of course, when you issue a SCOOC, you should be, exchange it, and you should be, place it in a, in an exchange or preserving institution. So for that, you need some kind of identification card for that SCOOC. So it's really related with the blockchain technology, and it's secured. I think the smart SCOOC related with that, but it requires, when Dr. Muaz presented, as you see, regulation effect is so important, and the compliance of governmental agencies is so important. Without having any such system in those governmental, governmental agencies that support and manage that ecosystem, it's meaningless as a bank or as a financial institution develop an instrument working with the blockchain technology. Do you understand what I mean? So it's really, total ecosystem that we should be developing all together. For instance, it should be a project for this, but it will be a very good idea. Actually, congratulations for this also, but it's certainly doable. Thank you for the question.
If I may share, in fact, last, or I think like a couple of weeks ago, just one company in Labuan, that's basically the offshore jurisdiction in Malaysia. They worked on something on blockchain for Sukuk, the company called Fusang, in collaboration with ILM. That's basically to facilitate interbank liquidity. And I believe also Al Baraka Group is pretty much a partner on this one. I'm not sure of Al Baraka Turk. I mean, what is the position? But there is a interesting, just announced. I mean, I didn't even have the time yet to go into the details. I think last week or 2 weeks ago. So that could be interesting to follow and check.
Thank you, Dr. Muaz. I can have a last questions, if any. Then I'm just closing this session. Yeah, no. Actually, we are very honored to be here in this hall with the University of Istanbul, academicians and students, and with the guests and with the esteemed, colleagues. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I hope to see you in any other occasions, if we can invite us, of course. Thank you so much, Dr. Muaz, Şerafettin, Hasan Sami, Betül Hanım. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And I would like to thank dear Dr. Ahmet Albayrak and dear presenters. I would like to invite the Dean of the Faculty, Professor Sayım Yorgun, to present the gifts and certificates.